All Things Bright and Beautiful by Cecil Francis Alexander, 1818 to 1895. Read for LibriVox.org. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, He made their glowing colors, He made their tiny wings. The rich man in his castle, the poor man at his gate, God made them high or lowly, and ordered their estate. The purple-headed mountain, the river running by, the morning and the sunset that lighted up the sky. The cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the ripe fruits in the garden, He made them every one. The tall trees in the greenwood, the meadows where we play, the rushes by the water we gather every day. He gave us eyes to see them, and lips that we might tell how great is God Almighty, who hath made all things well. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Ballad of Father Gilligan by William Butler Yeats. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. The old priest, Peter Gilligan, was weary night and day, for half his flock were in their beds, or under green sods lay. Once while he nodded on a chair at the moth hour of eve, another poor man sent to him, and he began to grieve. I have no rest, nor joy, nor peace, for people die and die. And after he cried, God forgive, my body spake, not I. He knelt, and leaning on the chair he prayed and fell asleep. And the moth hour went from the fields, and stars began to peep. They slowly into millions grew, and leaves shook in the wind, and God covered the world with shade, and whispered to mankind. Upon the time of sparrow chirp, when the moths came once more, the old priest Peter Gilligan stood upright on the floor. Maroon, Maroon, the man has died while I slept on the chair. He roused his horse out of its sleep, and rode with little care. He rode now as he never rode, by rocky lane and fen. The sick man's wife opened the door. Father, you come again. The poor man is dead, he cried. He died an hour ago. The old priest Peter Gilligan in grief swayed to and fro. When you were gone, he turned and died, as merry as a bird. The old priest Peter Gilligan, he knelt him at that word. He who hath made the night of stars, for souls who tire and bleed, sent one of his great angels down to help me in my need. He who is wrapped in purple robes, with planets in his care, had pity on the least of things, asleep upon a chair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Ballad of Hell by John Davidson. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. A letter from my love today, oh, unexpected dear appeal! She struck a happy tear away, and broke the crimson seal. My love, there is no help on earth, no help in heaven. The dead man's bell must toll our wedding. Our first hearth must be the well-paved floor of hell. The color died from out her face. Her eyes like ghostly candles shone. She cast dread looks about the place, then clenched her teeth and read right on. And may not pass the prison door. Here must I rot from day to day, unless I wed whom I abhor. my cousin, Blanche of Valencay. At midnight with my dagger keen, I'll take my life. It must be so. Meet me in hell tonight, my queen, for weal and woe. She laughed, although her face was wan. She girded on her golden belt. She took her jeweled ivory fan, and at her glowing missal knelt. Then rose. "And am I mad?" she said. She broke her fan, her belt untied, with leather girt herself instead, and stuck a dagger at her side. She waited, shuddering in her room, till sleep had fallen on all the house. She never flinched, she faced her doom. They too must sin to keep their vows. Then out into the night she went, and stooping, crept by hedge and tree. Her rosebush flung a snare of scent, and caught a happy memory. She fell, and lay a minute's space. She tore the sward in her distress. The dewy grass refreshed her face. She rose, and ran with lifted dress. She started like a morn-caught ghost once when the moon came out and stood to watch. The naked road she crossed, and dived into the murmuring wood. The branches snatched her streaming cloak. A live thing shrieked. She made no stay. She hurried to the trysting oak. Right well she knew the way. Without a pause she bared her breast, and drove her dagger home, and fell, and lay like one that takes her rest, and died, and wakened up in hell. She bathed her spirit in the flame, and near the centre took her post. From all sides to her ears there came the dreary anguish of the lost. The devil started at her side, comely and tall and black as jet. "I am young Malespina's bride. Has he come hither yet? My poppet, welcome to your bed. Is Malespina here? Not he. Tomorrow he must wed his cousin Blanche, my dear." "You lie. He died with me tonight." "Not he. It was a plot." "You lie." "My dear, I never lie outright." "We died at midnight, he and I." The devil went. Without a groan she, gathered up in one fierce prayer, took root in hell's midst all alone, and waited for him there. She dared to make herself at home amidst the wail, the uneasy stir, the blood-stained flame that filled the dome, scentless and silent, shrouded her. How long she stayed I cannot tell, but when she felt his perfidy, she marched across the floor of hell, and all the damned stood up to see. The devil stopped her at the brink. She shook him off. She cried, "Away!" "My dear, you have gone mad, I think." "I was betrayed. I will not stay." Across the weltering deep she ran. A stranger thing was never seen. The damned stood silent to a man. They saw the great gulf set between. To her it seemed a meadow fair, and flowers sprang up about her feet. She entered heaven. She climbed the stair, and knelt down at the mercy seat. Seraphs and saints with one great voice welcomed that soul that knew not fear. Amazed to find it could rejoice, hell raised a hoarse, half-human cheer. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Be Strong by Maltby Davenport Babcock, 1858 to 1901. LibriVox.org. Be strong! We are not here to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift. Shun not the struggle, face it, 'tis God's gift. Be strong! Say not, "The days are evil, who's to blame?" And fold the hands and acquiesce. Oh, shame! Stand up, speak out, and bravely, in God's name. Be strong! It matters not how deep entrenched the wrong, How hard the battle goes, the day how long. Faint not, fight on! Tomorrow comes the song. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Birthday Verse Number 10 by J.S. Ogilvy. Read for LibriVox.org by Mike Overby, Parkland, Washington, on this, his 24th birthday. On this birthday morn arise from thy placid slumber, soon to meet love's longing eyes and greetings without number. Heaven's dearest gifts be thine, to crown all earthly treasure, for gifts that God gives unto thee know neither stint nor measure. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Bright Star by John Keats. Read for LibriVox.org by Rosemary DeSapio. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft the night, and watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel forever its soft fall and swell, awake forever in a sweet unrest. Still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live ever, or else swoon to death. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Caged Skylark by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. As a dare-gale skylark scanted in a dull cage, man's mounting spirit in his bone house, mean house, dwells. That bird beyond the remembering his free fells, this in drudgery, day laboring out life's age. Though aloft on turf or perch or poor low stage, both sing sometimes the sweetest, sweetest spells, yet both droop deadily sometimes in their cells, or wring their barriers in bursts of fear or rage. Not that the sweet fowl, song fowl, needs no rest. Why, hear him babble and drop down to his nest, but his own nest, wild nest, no prison. Man's spirit will be flesh-bound when found at best, but unencumbered. Meadow down is not distressed for a rainbow footing, it nor he for his bones risen. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Calvary by Frederick George Scott. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. O sorrowful heart of humanity, foiled in thy fight for dominion, bowed with the burden of emptiness, blackened with passion and woe. Here is a faith that will bear thee on waft of omnipotent pinion up to the heaven of victory, there to be known and to know. Here is the vision of Calvary, crowned with the world's revelation, throned in the grandeur of gloom and the thunders that quicken the dead. A meteor of hope in the darkness shines forth like a new constellation, dividing the night of our sorrow, revealing a path as we tread. Now are the portals of death by the feet of the Conqueror entered. Flames of the sun in the setting roll over the city of doom. A robe in imperial purple, the body triumphantly centered. Naked and white between thieves and mid ghosts that have crept from the tomb. O soul, thou art lost in immensity, craving for light and despairing. Here is the hand of the crucified, pulses of love in its veins. Human as ours in its touch, with the sinews of deity bearing the zones of pendulous planets, the weight of the winds and the rains. Here in the heart of the crucified find thee a refuge and hiding. Love at the core of the universe, guidance in space and the night. Centuries pass like a flood, but the rock of our strength is abiding, grounded in depths of eternity, girt with a mantle of light. Lo, as we wonder and worship, the night of the doubts that conceal him rolls from the face of the dawn till his rays through the cloud fissures slope. Vapors that hid are condensed to the dews of his grace that reveal him, and shine with his light on the hills as we mount in the splendor of hope. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Chaos by Gerard Knowles Trinité. Read for LibriVox.org by phone. Dearest creature in creation, studying English pronunciation, I will teach you in my verse, sounds like corpse, core, horse, and worse. It will keep you, Susie, busy, make your head with heat grow dizzy. Tear in eye your dress you'll tear, so shall I, oh hear my prayer. Pray, console your loving poet, make my coat look new, dear, sew it. Just compare heart, beard, and herd, dyes and diet, lord and word. Sword and sword, retain and Britain, mind the letter how it's written. Maid has not the sound of bad, say, sad, pay, paid, laid, but plaid. Now I surely will not plague you with such words as vague and ague, but be careful how ye speak, say break, stake, but bleak and streak. Previous, precious, fuchsia, via, pipe, snipe, recipe, and quia. Cloven, oven, how and low, script, receipt, shoe, poem, toe. Hear me say, devoid of trickery, daughter, laughter, and terpsichore. Typhoid, measles, topsails, isles, exiles, similes, reviles. Holy, holy, signal, signing, Thames, examining, combining. Scholar, vicar, and cigar, solar, mica, war and far. From desire, desirable, admirable from admire. Lumber, plumber, beer, but briar. Chatham, Brougham, renown, but known. Knowledge, done, but gone and tone. One, anemone, Balmoral. Kitchen, lichen, laundry, laurel. Gertrude, German, wind and mind. Scene, Melpomene, mankind. Tortoise, turquoise, chamois leather. Reading, Reading, heathen heather. This phonetic labyrinth gives moss, gross, brook, brooch, ninth, and plinth. Billet does not end like ballet, bouquet, wallet, mallet, chalet. Blood and flood are not like food, nor is mold like should and would. Banquet is not nearly parquet, which is said to rhyme with darky. Viscous, viscount, load and broad, toward, to forward, to reward. And your pronunciation's okay when you correctly say croquet. Rounded, wounded, grieve and sieve, friend and fiend, alive and live. Liberty, library, heave and heaven, Rachel, ache, moustache, 11. We say hallowed, but aloud. People, leopard, toad, but vowed. Mark the difference, moreover, between mover, plover, dover. Leeches, breeches, wise, precise, chalice, but police and lice. Camel, constable, unstable, principal, disciple, label. Petal, penal, and canal, wait, surmise, plate, promise, pal. Suit, sweet, run, circuit, conduit, rhyme with circuit and beyond it. But it is not hard to tell why it's pall, mall, but pall-mall. Muscle, muscular, jail, iron, timber, climber, bullion, lion. Worm and storm, chaise, chaos, chair, senator, spectator, mayor. Ivy, privy, famous, clamour, and animar rhyme with hammer. Pussy, hussy, and possess. Desert, but desert, address. Gulf, wolf, countenance, lieutenants. Hoist in lieu of flags, left pennants. River, rival, tomb, bomb, comb. Dole and roll, and sum and home. Stranger does not rhyme with anger, neither does devour with clangor. Soul but foul, and gaunt but ant. Font, front, want, grand and grant. Shoes, goes, does, now first say finger, and then singer, ginger, linger. Real, zeal, mauve, gauze, engage. Marriage, foliage, mirage, age. Query does not rhyme with very, nor does fury sound like berry. Dust, lost, post, and doth, cloth, loath. Job, Job, blossom, bosom, oath. Though the difference seems little, we say actual but victual. Seat, sweat, chaste, cast. Lee, ate, height. Put, nut, granite, but unite. Reefer does not rhyme with defer. Pfeffer does, and zephyr, heifer. Dull, bull, Geoffrey, George, at, late. Hint, pint, senate, but sedate. Scenic, Arabic, Pacific. Science, conscience, scientific. Tour, but hour, and succor, for. Gas, alas, and Arkansas. Sea, idea, Guinea, area. Psalm, Maria, but malaria. Youth, south, southern. Cleanse and clean. Doctrine, turpentine, marine. Compare alien with Italian, dandelion with battalion. Sally with ally, yea and ye. I, we, key. Say aver, but ever, fever. Neither, leisure, skein, receiver. Never guess, it is not safe. We say calves, valves, half, but rafe. Heron, granary, canary. Crevice in device, but airy. Face, but preface, but efface. Phlegm, phlegmatic, ass, glass, base. Large, but target, gin, give, verging. Ought, out, joust and scour, but scourging. Ear, but earn, and wear and tear, do not rhyme with here, but air. 7 is right, but so is even. Hyphen, roughen, nephew, Stephen. Monkey, donkey, clerk and jerk. Asp, grasp, wasp, and cork and work. Pronunciation, think of Psyche, is a paling, stout and spiky. Won't it make you lose your wits, writing groats and saying grits? It is a dark abyss or tunnel, strewn with stones like Rowlock Gunnel. Islington and Isle of Wight, housewife, verdict and indict. Don't you think so, reader, rather, saying lather, bather, father? Finally, which rhymes with enough? Dough, through, plough, cuff, hoe or tough. Hiccup has the sound of cup. My advice is, give it up. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Day of Days by Christina Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by phone. I wish I could remember that first day, first hour, first moment of your meeting me. If bright or dim the season it might be, summer or winter for aught I can say. So unrecorded did it slip away, so blind was I to see and to foresee, so dull to mark the budding of my tree that would not blossom yet for many a May. If only I could recollect it such a day of days, and let it come and go as traceless as a thaw of bygone snow. It seemed to mean so little, meant so much. If only now I could recall that touch, first touch of hand in hand, did one but know. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Evening Fantasy by Friedrich Hölderlin, translated by Charles Wharton Stork. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgate Novelist. Before his hut reposes in restful shade the ploughman. Wreaths of smoke from his hearth ascend, and sweet to wanderers comes the tone of evening bells from the peaceful village. The sailor too puts into the haven now. In distant cities cheerily dies away the busy tumult. In the arbour gleams the festal repast of friendship. But whither I? In labour, for slight reward we mortals live. In alternate rest and toil contentment dwells. But why then sleeps not hid in my bosom the thorn unsparing? The evening heaven blooms as with springtime's hue. Uncounted bloom the roses, the golden world seems wrapped in peace. Oh, bear me thither, purple-wrought clouds, and may for me there both love and grief dissolve in the joyous light. But see, as if dispelled by the foolish prayer, the wonder fades. 'Tis dark, and lonely under the heaven I stand as erstwhile. Come then to me, soft sleep. Overmuch requires the heart, and yet thou too at the last shalt fade, O youth, thou restless dream pursuer. Peaceful and happy shall age then follow. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The First Christian by Odell Shepherd. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. A little wandering wind went up the hill. It had a lonely voice as though it knew what it should find before it came to where the broken body of him that had been Christ hung in the ruddy glow. A bowshot down the bleak rock-shouldered hill the soldiery had piled a fire, and when the searching wind came stronger from the distant sea and dashed the shadows and the gleam together, songs of battle and lust were blown along the slope, mingled with clash of swords and cuirass and shield. But on the women sitting by the cross, even she whose life had been as gravely sweet and sheltered as a lily's did not flinch. Her face was buried in her shrouding cloak, and she who knew too sorrowfully well the cruelty and bitterness of life heard it not. She sat erect, her shadowy hair blown back along the darkness, and her eyes that searched the distant spaces of the night, splendid and glowing with an inward joy. And at the darkest hour came 3 or 4 from round the fire, and would have driven them thence. But one who knew them, gazing in their eyes, said, Nay, it is his mother and his love, the scarlet Magdalena. Let them be. So in the gloom beside the glimmering cross, beneath the broken body of him they loved, they wept and watched, the lily and the rose. At last the deep, low voice of Magdalene, toned like a distant bell, broke on the hush. We are so weak. What can poor women do? So pitifully frail. God pity us! How He did pity us! He understood. Out of His own great strength He understood how it might feel to be so very weak, to be a tender lily of the field, to be a lamb lost in the windy hills far from the fold and from the shepherd's voice, to be a child with no strength, only love. And He knew if ever a man can know what 'tis to be a woman and to live, strive how she may to outsoar and overcome, tied to this too frail body of too fair earth. Oh, had I been a man to shield him then in his great need with loving, strong right arm! One of the 12, ah, of that noble 12 that ran away, and two made mock of him, or else betrayed him ere they ran. Ah, no! And yet a man's strength with a woman's love, that might have served him somewhat ere the end. Then with a weary voice the mother said, "What can we do, but only watch and weep? Sit with weak hands, and watch while strong men rend and break and ruin, bringing all to naught the beauty we have nearly died to make." It is not true to say that he was strong. He did not claim the kingdom that was his. He did not even seek for wealth and power. He did not win a woman's love and get strong children to live after him, and all that strong men strive for he passed heedless by. Because that he was weak, I loved him so. For that, and for his soft and gentle ways, the tender patient calling of his voice, and that dear trick of smiling with his eyes. Ah, no, I have had dreams, a mother's dreams, but now I cannot dream them any more. I sorrowed little as the happy days sped by and by, that still the fair haired lad who lay at first beside me in the stall, the cattle stall outside Jerusalem, found no great throne to dazzle his mother's eye. He was so good a workman, axe and saw did surely suit him better than a sword. I was content if only he would wed some village girl of little Nazareth, and get me children with his own slow smile, deep thoughtful eyes, and golden kingly brow. It seems but yesterday he played among the shavings strewn on Joseph's workshop floor. The sunlight of the morning slanted through the window. 'Twas in springtime, and across the bench where Joseph sat, and then it lay in golden glory on the boy's bright hair, and on the shavings that were golden too. I saw him through the open door. I thought, my little king has found his golden crown. But unto Joseph I said not at all. But now, ah me, he won no woman's love, nor loved one either as most men call love, and so he had no child, and he is gone, and I am left without him alone. So by her son's pale broken body mourned the mother, dreaming on departed days, and as with one who looks into the west, watching the embers of the outburned day crumble and cool and slowly droop and fade, and will not take the darkling eastward path where lies his way until the last faint glow has left the sky and the earthly stars shine forth. So did her dream cling to the ruined past, and all the joy they had in Nazareth, before the years of doubt and trouble came. Then, while loud laughter sounded up the hill, where yet that ribald crew sang o'er the wine, she bowed her head above her cradling arms, and softly sang, as to herself, the songs of Israel that once had served her well to soothe the wakeful child. But Magdalene arose upon her feet, and tossed her cloak back from the midnight of her wind-blown hair, and lifted up her eyes into the dark, as though beyond this circle of all our woe to read a hidden meaning in the stars. "Aye, it is dark," she said, "the night comes on. He was the sunshine of our little day. The clouds unsettled softly, and we saw ladders of glory climbing into light. unspeakable, with dazzling interchange of majesties and powers. But suddenly the tides of darkness whelm us round again, and this drear, dwindled earth becomes once more what it has ever been, a core of shade and steaming vapor spinning in the dark, a deeper clot of blackness in the void. The night comes on. 'Tis hard to pierce the dark. And if to me who loved him, whom he loved, though well thou sayest not as most men call love, far harder will it be for those who hold in memory no gesture of his hand, no haunting echo of his patient voice, nor that dear trick of smiling with his eyes. O ceaseless tramp of armies down the years! O maddened cries of Christ and Son of Mary! While o'er the crying screams the hurtling death, thou gentle shepherd of the quiet fold, mild man of sorrows, hast thou done this thing, who camest not to bring peace but a sword? Ah, no, not thou, but only our childishness, the pitifully childish heart of man, that cannot learn and know beyond a little. The priests and captains and the little kings will tear each other at the throat and cry, "Thus said he, lived he, swear it or thou diest." But these shall pass and perish in the dark, while the lorn strays, outcasts of the world, the souls whose pain has seared their pride to dust and burned away for love to enter in, these only know his meaning and shall live. So it is with one whose feet have trod the valley of the shadow, who has seen his dearest lowered into endless night. All music holds for him a deeper strain, of nobler meaning, and the flush of dawn, high wind at noonday, crumbling sunset gold, and the dear pathetic look of children's eyes. All beauty pierces closer to his heart. Yea, thou thyself, pale youth upon the cross, the godlike strength of thee was rooted deep in human weakness. Even she who bore thee, seeing the man, too nearly missed the God, erring as fits the mother. Some will say in coming years, I feel it in my heart, that thou didst face thy death a conscious God, knowing almighty hands were stretched to snatch and lift thee from the greedy clutching grave, falsely, forgetting dark Gethsemane, not knowing, as I know, what doubt assailed thy human heart until the latest breath. Ah, what a trumpery death, what mockery and mere theatric mimicry of pain! If thou didst surely know thou couldst not die. Thou didst not know, and whether even now thy straying ghost, like some great moth of night blown seaward through the shadow, flies and drifts along dim coasts and headlands of the dark, a homeless wanderer up and down the void, or whether indeed thou art enthroned above, in light and life, I know not. This I know, that in the moment of sheer certainty my soul will die. No, on thy spirit lay all the dark weight and mystery of pain, and all our human doubts and flickering hope, deathless despairs and treasuries of tears, gropings of spirit blindfold by the flesh, and grapplings with the fiend. Else were thy breath less like a god's than even mine may be. Thou broken mother, who canst see in him only the quiet man, the needful child, and most of all the babe of Bethlehem, let it suffice thee. Thy reward is great. Who loveth God that never hath loved man? Who knoweth man but cometh to know God? Thou sacred, sorrowing mother, canst thou learn, thou who hast gone so softly in God's sight, of me, the scarlet woman of old days? Come, let us walk together, thou and I. Apart we see him darkly, through a glass. Together we shall surely see aright. Bring thou thine innocence, thy stainless soul, and I will bring deep lore of suffering, my dear bought wisdom of defeat and pain. For out of these may come, believe it thou, sanctities not like thine, but fit to bear the bitter storms and whirlwinds of this world. Ay, out of evil often springeth good, and sweetest honey from the lion's mouth. And that he knew. That very thing he meant when he withdrew from me the pits of shame. 'Tis I who see God shining through the man. I see the Deity, the godlike strength in his supreme capacity for pain. Nor have I known the cruel love of men these many years to err when now I say this man loved not like men but like a God. Thou broken mother, weep not for the child, mourn not the man, acclaim the risen Christ. She turned and touched the other lovingly, then stooped and pressed into her darkened face. The mother slept, forspent and overdue by weariness and woe too great to bear. She gently smiled. "So it is best," she said. Tall and elate she stood, her shadowy hair blown back along the darkness of her eyes that searched the distant spaces of the night, splendid and glowing with an inward joy. And over that dark hill of tragedy and triumph, victory and dull despair, over the sleeping Roman soldiery, over 3 dark crosses, rose, shone still and clear the great compassionate stars. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
From Pent-Up Aching Rivers by Walt Whitman, read for LibriVox.org by Matisyahu. From pent-up aching rivers, from that of myself without which I were nothing, from what I am determined to make illustrious, even if I stand sole among men, from my own voice resonant, singing the phallus, singing the song of procreation, singing the need of superb children and therein superb grown people, singing the muscular urge and the blending, singing the bedfellow song. Oh, resistless yearning, oh, for any and each the body correlative attracting, oh, for you, whoever you are, your correlative body, oh, it more than all else, you delighting, from the hungry gnaw that eats me night and day, from native moments, from bashful pains, singing them, seeking something yet unfound, though I have diligently sought it many a long year, singing the true song of the soul, fitful at random, renascent with grossest nature or among animals, of that, of them, and what goes with them, my poems informing, of the smell of apples and lemons, of the pairing of birds, of the wet of woods, of the lapping of waves, of the mad pushes of waves upon the land, I them chanting, the overture lightly sounding, the strain anticipating, the welcome nearness, the sight of the perfect body, the swimmer swimming naked in the bath, or motionless on his back lying and floating, the female form approaching, I pensive, love flesh tremulous aching, the divine list for myself or you or for anyone making, the face, the limbs, the index from head to foot, and what it arouses, the mystic deliria, the madness amorous, the utter abandonment. Hark close and still what I now whisper to you. I love you. Oh, you entirely possess me. Oh, that you and I escape from the rest and go utterly off, free and lawless, 2 hawks in the air, 2 fishes swimming in the sea, not more lawless than we. The furious storm through me careering, I passionately trembling, the oath of the inseparableness of 2 together, of the woman that loves me and whom I love more than my life, that oath swearing, oh, I willingly stake all for you, oh, let me be lost if it must be so, oh, you and I, what is it to us what the rest do or think? What is all else to us? Only that we enjoy each other and exhaust each other if it must be so. From the master, the pilot I yield the vessel to, the general commanding me, commanding all, from him permission taking, from time the program hastening, I have loitered too long as it is, from sex, from the warp, and from the woof, from the privacy, from frequent repinings alone, from plenty of persons near and yet the right person not near, from the soft sliding of hands over me and thrusting of fingers through my hair and beard, from the long sustained kiss upon the mouth or bosom, from the close pressure that makes me or any man drunk, fainting with excess, from what the divine husband knows, from the work of fatherhood, from exultation, victory, and relief, from the bedfellow's embrace in the night, from the act poems of eyes, hands, hips, and bosoms, from the cling of the trembling arm, from the bending curve and the clinch, from side by side the pliant coverlet off-throwing, from the one so unwilling to have me leave, and me just as unwilling to leave. Yet a moment, O tender waiter, and I return, from the hour of shining stars and dropping dews, from the night a moment I emerging, flitting out, celebrate you, act divine, and you children prepared for, and you stalwart loins. End of From Pent Up Aching Rivers. This recording is in the public domain.
Humdrum by Carl Sandburg. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. If I had 1,000,000 lives to live, and 1,000,000 deaths to die, in 1,000,000 humdrum worlds, I'd like to change my name and have a new house number to go by each and every time I died and started life all over again. I wouldn't want the same name every time and the same old house number always, dying 1,000,000 deaths, dying one by one 1,000,000 times. Would you? Or you? Or you? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Hyperion's Song of Fate by Friedrich Hölderlin, translated by Charles Wharton Stork. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgate Novelist. Ye wander there in the light on flower-soft fields, ye blessed immortal spirits. Radiant godlike zephyrs touch you as gently as the hand of a master might touch the awed lute-string. Free of fate as the slumbering infant, breathe the divine ones. Guarded well in the firm sheathed bud blooms eternal each happy soul, and their rapture-lit eyes shine with a tranquil, unchanging lustre. But we, 'tis our portion, we never may be at rest. They stumble, they vanish, the suffering mortals, hurtling from one hard hour to another, like waves that are driven from cliff-side to cliff-side, endlessly down the uncertain abyss. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
I wake and feel the fell of dark, not day, by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. I wake and feel the fell of dark, not day. What hours, oh what black hours we have spent this night! What sights you, heart, saw! Ways you went, and more must in yet longer lights delay. With witness I speak this, but where I say hours, I mean years, mean life, and my lament is cries countless, cries like dead letters sent to dearest him that lives, alas, away. I am gall, I am heartburn, God's most deep decree bitter would have me taste. My taste was me. Bones built in me, flesh filled, blood brimmed the curse. Self yeast of spirit a dull dough sours. I see the lost are like this, and their scourge to be, as I am mine, their sweating selves, but worse. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Kate Shelley by Eugene J. Hall. Read for LibriVox.org by Colleen McMahon. Have you heard how a girl saved the Lightning Express? Of Kate Shelley, whose father was killed on the road. Were he living today, he'd be proud to possess such a daughter as Kate. Ah, 'twas grit that she showed on that terrible evening when Donohue's train jumped the bridge and went down in the darkness and rain. She was only 18, but a woman in size, with a figure as graceful and lithe as a doe, with peach blossom cheeks and with violet eyes, and teeth and complexion like new-fallen snow, with a nature unspoiled and unblemished by art, with a generous soul and a warm, noble heart. 'Tis evening, the darkness is dense and profound. Men linger at home by their bright blazing fires. The wind wildly howls with a horrible sound, and shrieks through the vibrating telegraph wires. The fierce lightning flashes along the dark sky. The rain falls in torrents, the river rolls by. The scream of a whistle, the rush of a train, the sound of a bell, a mysterious light that flashes and flares through the fast falling rain. A rumble, a roar, shrieks of human affright. The falling of timbers, the space of a breath. A splash in the river, then darkness and death. Kate Shelley recoils at the terrible crash. The sounds of destruction she happens to hear. She springs to the window, she throws up the sash, and listens and looks with a feeling of fear. The tall tree tops groan, and she hears the faint cry of a drowning man down in the river near by. Her heart feebly flutters, her features grow wan, and then through her soul in a moment there flies a forethought that gives her the strength of a man. She turns to her trembling old mother and cries, "I must save the express, 'twill be here in an hour," then out through the door disappears in the shower. She flies down the track through the pitiless rain. She reaches the river, the water below whirls and sees through the timbers. She shudders again. The bridge, to Moingona, God help me to go. Then closely about her she gathers her gown, and on the wet ties with a shiver sinks down. Then carefully over the timbers she creeps, on her hands and knees almost holding her breath. The loud thunder peals, and the wind wildly sweeps, and struggles to hurry her downward to death. But the thought of the train to destruction so near removes from her soul every feeling of fear. With the blood dripping down from each torn, bleeding limb, slowly over the timbers her dark way she feels. Her fingers grow numb, and her head seems to swim. Her strength is fast failing. She staggers, she reels. She falls. Oh, the danger is over at last. Her feet touch the earth, and the long bridge is past. In an instant new life seems to come to her form. She springs to her feet and forgets her despair. On, to Moingona she faces the storm. She reaches the station. The keeper is there. "Save the Lightning Express! No, hang out the red light. There's death on the bridge at the river tonight." Out flashes the signal light, rosy and red. Then sounds the loud roar of the swift coming train. The hissing of steam, and there, brightly ahead, the gleam of a headlight illumines the rain. "Down brakes!" shrieks the whistle, defiant and shrill. She heeds the red signal. She slackens. She's still. Ah, noble Kate Shelley, your mission is done. Your deed that dark night will not fade from our gaze. An endless renown you have worthily won. Let the nation be just, and accord you its praise. Let your name, let your fame, and your courage declare what a woman can do, and a woman can dare. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Long Island Sound by Emma Lazarus. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. I see it as it looked one afternoon in August, by a fresh, soft breeze o'erblown. The swiftness of the tide, the light thereon, a far-off sail, white as a crescent moon, the shining waters with pale currents strewn, the quiet fishing smacks, the eastern cove, the semicircle of its dark green grove, the luminous grasses and the merry sun in the grave sky, the sparkle far and wide, laughter of unseen children, cheerful chirp of crickets and low lisp of rippling tide, light summer clouds, fantastical as sleep, changing unnoted while I gazed thereon. All these fair sounds and sights I made my own. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Mariposa by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Read for LibriVox.org by C. Gilligan Berryman, August 12th, 2018. Butterflies are white and blue, in this field we wander through. Suffer me take your hand, death comes in a day or two. All the things we never knew will be ashes in that hour. Mark the transient butterfly, how he hangs upon the flower. Suffer 'em to take your hand, suffer me to cherish you, till the dawn is in the sky. Whether I be false or true, death comes in a day or two. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Now by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgate Novelist. Out of your whole life give but a moment, all of your life that has gone before, all to come after it, so you ignore, so you make perfect the present, condense in a rapture of rage for perfection's endowment, thought and feeling and soul and sense, merged in a moment which gives me at last, you around me for once, you beneath me, above me, sure that despite of time future, time past, this tick of our lifetime's one moment, you love me. How long such suspension may linger? Ah, sweet, the moment eternal, just that and no more, when ecstasy's utmost we clutch at the core, while cheeks burn, arms open, eyes shut, and lips meet. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Romance by W. J. Turner. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. When I was but 13 or so, I went into a golden land. Chimborazo, Cotopaxi, took me by the hand. My father died, my brother too. They passed like fleeting dreams. I stood where Popocatépetl in the sunlight gleams. I dimly heard the master's voice, and boys far off at play. Chimborazo, Cotopaxi, had stolen me away. I walked in a great golden dream to and fro from school. Shining Popocatépetl the dusty streets did rule. I walked home with a gold dark boy, and never a word I'd say. Chimborazo, Cotopaxi, had taken my speech away. I gazed entranced upon his face, fairer than any flower. O shining Popocatépetl, it was thy magic hour. The houses, people, traffic seemed thin fading dreams by day, Chimborazo, Cotopaxi, they had stolen my soul away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Santa Cruz by Philip Freeman. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. Santa Cruz. Betwixt old Cancer and the midway line, in happiest climate lies this envied isle. Trees bloom throughout the year, soft breezes blow, and fragrant Flora wears a lasting smile. Cool woodland streams from shaded cliffs descend, the dripping rock no want of moisture knows, supplied by springs that on the skies depend, that fountain feeding as the current flows. Sweet verdant isle, through thy dark woods I rove, and learn the nature of each native tree, the fustic hard, the poisonous manchineel, which for its fragrant apple pleaseth thee. The lowly mangrove, fond of watery soil, the white-barked palm tree, rising high in air, the mastic in the woods you may descry, tamarind and lofty bay trees flourish there. Sweet orange groves in lonely valleys rise, and drop their fruits unnoticed and unknown, the cooling acid limes in hedges grow, the juicy lemons swell in shades their own. Soft spongy plums on trees wide spreading hang, bell apples here, suspended, shade the ground, plump granadillas and guavas grey, with melons in each plain and vale abound. But chief the glory of these Indian isles springs from the sweet uncloying sugar cane. Hence comes the planter's wealth, hence commerce sends such floating piles to traverse half the main. Whoever thou art that leaves thy native shore, and shall to fair West India climates come, taste not the enchanting plant, to taste forbear, if ever thou wouldst reach thy much loved home. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Seasonable Parody by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. A Seasonable Parody. 3 women went waddling out into the surf at Newport town. Each wore a bath suit of the very best, costing as much as a wedding gown. For men must work, and women must lave, and what men earn their wives don't save, though husbands they be moaning. 3 brokers sat up at 3 high desks, and balanced their books as the sun went down, each poring over ledgers that wouldn't come straight, each wrapped in a study disgustingly brown. For men must sweat, and women keep cool, and woman will ever be fashion's fool, though husbands they be moaning. 3 names are struck from the gold board's books, 3 brokers' signboards are taken down, 3 men are busy seeing their friends, borrowing money to get out of town. For men must break if women must waste, and it costs a deal to be people of taste. So good-bye to the fools and their moaning. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Smile by William Blake. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. There is a smile of love, and there is a smile of deceit, and there is a smile of smiles in which these 2 smiles meet. And there is a frown of hate, and there is a frown of disdain, and there is a frown of frowns which you strive to forget in vain. For it sticks in the heart's deep core, and it sticks in the deep backbone, and no smile that ever was smiled, but only one smile alone, that betwixt the cradle and grave it only once smiled can be, and when it once is smiled, there's an end to all misery. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet 64 by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Beverly Anderson. When I have seen by time's fell hand defaced the rich proud cost of outworn buried age, when sometime lofty towers I see down raise, and brass eternal slave to mortal rage, when I have seen the hungry ocean gain advantage on the kingdom of the shore, and the firm soil win of the watery main, increasing store with loss, and loss with store. When I have seen such interchange of state, or state itself confounded to decay, ruin hath taught me thus to ruminate, that time will come and take my love away. This thought is as a death which cannot choose but weep to have that which it fears to lose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Sonnet 65 by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Beverly Anderson. Since brass nor stone nor earth nor boundless sea but sad mortality o'ersways their power, how with this rage shall beauty hold a plea, whose action is no stronger than a flower? Oh, how shall summer's honey breath hold out against the wrackful siege of battering days, when rocks impregnable are not so stout, nor gates of steel so strong but time decays? O fearful meditation, where, alack, shall time's best jewel from time's chest lie hid? Or what strong hand can hold his swift foot back, or who his spoil of beauty can forbid? O none, unless this miracle have might, that in black ink my love may still shine bright. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Sonnet 55 by William Shakespeare. Read for LibriVox.org by Beverly Anderson. Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besmeared with sluttish time. When wasteful war shall statues overturn, and broils root out the work of masonry, nor Mars his sword, nor war's swift fire shall burn the living record of your memory. 'Gainst death and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth, your praise shall still find room even in the eyes of all posterity that wear this world out to the ending doom. So, till the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Spleen by Charles Baudelaire. Read for LibriVox.org by Chuck Williamson. I'm like some king in whose corrupted veins flows aged blood, who rules a land of rains, who, young in years, is old in all distress, who flees good counsel to find weariness among his dogs and playthings, who is stirred neither by hunting hound nor hunting bird, whose weary face emotion moves no more, even when his people die before his door. His favorite jester's most fantastic wile upon that sick, cruel face can raise no smile. The courtly dames, to whom all kings are good, can lighten this young skeleton's dull mood no more with shameless toilets. In his gloom, even his lilied bed becomes a tomb. The sage who takes his gold assays in vain to purge away the old corrupted strain, his baths of blood, that in the days of old the Romans used when their hot blood grew cold, will never warm this dead man's bloodless pains, for green Lethean water fills his veins. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Thrush Before Dawn by Alice Meynell. Read for LibriVox.org by Thomas Peter. A voice peals in this end of night, a phrase of notes resembling stars, single and spiritual notes of light. What call they at my window bars? The south, the past, the day to be, an ancient infelicity. Darkling, deliberate, what sings this wonderful one, alone at peace? What wilder things than song, what things sweeter than youth, clearer than Greece, dearer than Italy, untold delight, and freshness centuries old? And first loves, a multitude, the exaltation of their pain, ancestral childhood long renewed, and midnights of invisible rain, and gardens, gardens, night and day, gardens and childhood all the way. What Middle Ages passionate, O passionless voice, what distant bells lodged in the hills, what palace state Illyrian, for it speaks, it tells, without desire, without dismay, some morrow and some yesterday. All natural things, but more. Whence came this yet remoter mystery? How do these starry notes proclaim a graver still divinity? This hope, this sanctity of fear. O innocent throat, O human ear. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Two by Anonymous. Read for LibriVox.org by Sonia. 2. For the Mirror. Yes, 'tis to thee, love, I waken the string. Yes, 'tis to thee, love, I only would sing. And in thine eyes, love, I ask but to shine With softest affection, as thou dost in mine. Dearest and kindest, I ask but to be Cherished by thee, love, as thou art by me. Then shall our moments glide sunnily o'er, And blest with each other, we sigh for no more. Wife of thy bosom, by thee loved alone, No dearer blessing this proud world can own. All its attractions delighted I'll fly, For thee, love, to live, and with thee, love, to die. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To the Average Man by Wallace Irwin. Read for LibriVox.org by Philip Gould. The average man wears the average clothes and the average hat on his head. He eats at a table and sits on a chair and normally sleeps on a bed, for he scorns the eccentric and never would dare to sleep on a table or eat on a chair. The average man seeks the corner saloon, Homeric refreshment to find, but, shunning the tipple, he wanders to church, where he is devoutly inclined. Nor does he expect to find whiskey or dice in the place that is famed for religious advice. The average man says the average things, and sings just the average songs. He's deucedly fond of the average girl, for whom he unceasingly longs, and his vices and virtues, too many to tell, are oddly at odds, but they average well. Statistics declare that the average man finds the average woman and mates, that the average family, children all told, is something like 2 3/8. Though fractional children disturb and appall, the average man isn't worried at all. The average man reads the average books, and sometimes he writes 'em, I hear. He's neither a genius, a knave, nor a fool. In fact, he despises the queer, for if he departed the average plan, he'd cease to be known as the average man. But deep in the breast of the average man the passions of ages are swirled, and the loves and the hates of the average man are as old as the heart of the world. For the thought of the race, as we live and we die, is in keeping the man and the average high. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Tryst by Edith Wharton. Part of the Book of the Homeless. Read for LibriVox.org by Mike Overby, Parkland, Washington. I said to the woman, "Whence do you come, with your bundle in your hand?" She said, "In the north I made my home, where slow streams fatten the fruitful loam, and the endless sweet fields run like foam to the edge of the endless sand." I said, "What look have your houses there? And the rivers that glass your sky? Do the steeples that call your people to prayer lift fretted fronts to the silver air? And the stones of your streets, are they washed and fair when the Sunday folk go by?" "My house is ill-defined," she said, "for it has no roof but the sky. The tongue is torn from the steeple-head, the streets are foul with the slime of the dead, and all the rivers run poison red with the bodies drifting by." I said, "Is there none to come at your call, in all this throng astray? They shot my husband against the wall, and my child," she said, "too little to crawl, held up its hands to catch the ball when the gun muzzle turned its way." I said, "There are countries far from here, where the friendly church bells call, and fields where the rivers run cool and clear, and the streets where the weary may walk without fear, and the quiet bed, with a green tree near, to sleep at the end of it all." She answered, "Your land is too remote, and what if I chance to roam, when the bells fly back to the steeple's throat, and the sky with banners is all afloat, and the streets of my city rock like a boat with the tramp of her men come home? I shall crouch by the door till the bolt is down, and then go to my dead. Where my husband fell I will put a stone, and mother a child instead of my own, and stand and laugh on my bare hearthstone when the king rides by," she said. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Vagabondia by Bliss Carman and Richard Hovey. Read for LibriVox.org by Chuck Williamson. Off with the fetters that chafe and restrain, off with the chain. Here art and letters, music and wine, and Myrtle and Wanda, the winsome witches, blithely combine. Here are true riches, here is Golconda, here are the Indies. Here we are free, free as the wind is, free as the sea, free. Hoopla! What have we to do with the way of the Pharisee? We go or we stay at our own sweet will. We think as we say, and we say or keep still. At our own sweet will, at our own sweet will. Here we are free to be good or bad, sane or mad, merry or grim, as the mood may be. Free as the whim of a spook on a spree. Free to be oddities, not mere commodities, stupid and saleable, wholly available, ranged upon shelves, each with his puny form in the same uniform, cramped and disabled. We are not labeled. We are ourselves. Here is the real. Here is the ideal. Laughable hardship, met and forgot. Glory of bardship, world's bloom and world's blot. The shock and the jostle, the mock and the push, but hearts like the throstle, a joy in the bush. Wits that would merrily laugh away wrong, throats that would verily melt hell in song. What though the dimes be elusive as rhymes be, and Bessie with finger uplifted is warning that breakfast next morning, a subject she's scorning, is mighty uncertain. What care we? Linger a moment to kiss, no time's amiss to a vagabond's ardor. Thee finish the larder, and pull down the curtain. Unless ere the kiss come, Black Richard or Bliss come, or Tom with a flagon, or Carl with a jag on. Then up and after the joy of the night, with the hounds of laughter to follow the flight of the foxfoot hours that double and run through brakes and bowers of jolly and fun. With the comrade heart for a moment's play, and the comrade heart for a heavier day, and the comrade heart forever and aye. For the joy of wine is not for long, and the joy of song is a dream of shine. But the comrade heart shall outlast art, and a woman's love the fame thereof. But wine for a sign of the love we bring, and song for an oath that love is king, and both for his worshipping. Then up and away till the break of day, with a heart that's merry, and a Tom and Jerry, and a derry down dairy. What's that you say, you highly respectable buyers and sellers? We should be decenter? Not as we please enter? Custom, frugality, use and morality, and the delectable depths of wine cellars? Midnights of revel and noondays of song? Is it so wrong? Go to the devil! I tell you that we, while you are smirking, and lying, and shirking life's duty of duties, honest sincerity, we are in verity free, free to rejoice in blisses and beauties, free as the voice of the wind as it passes, free as the bird and the weft of the grasses, free as the word of the sun to the sea, free. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In the Valley of the Elwey by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. I remember a house where all were good to me, God knows, deserving no such thing. Comforting smell breathed at very entering, fetched fresh, as I suppose, of some sweet wood. That cordial air made those kind people a hood all over, as a bevy of eggs the mothering wing will, or mild nights the new morsels of spring. Why, it seemed of course, seemed of right it should. Lovely the woods, waters, meadows, combes, vales, all the air things wear that build this world of Wales. Only the inmate does not correspond. God, lover of souls, swaying considerate scales, complete thy creature dear, oh, where it fails! Being mighty a master, being a father and fond. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Where the West Begins by Arthur Chapman, 1873 to 1935. Read for LibriVox.org. Out where the hand clasps a little stronger, out where the smile dwells a little longer, that's where the West begins. Out where the sun's a little brighter, where the snow that falls is a trifle whiter, where the bonds of home are a wee bit tighter, that's where the West begins. Out where the skies are a trifle bluer, out where friendship's a little truer, that's where the West begins. Out where the fresher breeze is blowing, where there is laughter in every streamlet flowing, where there's more of reaping and less of sowing, that's where the West begins. Out where the world is in the making, where fewer hearts with despair are aching, that's where the West begins. Where there is more of singing and less of sighing, where there is more of giving and less of buying, and a man makes friends without half trying, that's where the West begins. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.